You've probably been on a webinar, web conference, online training, whatsoever the word is they utilize to identify it. Webinars are a big hit in the IM world today. However, they've in reality been used in all sorts of niches, bringing in big money for years. Most times, the webinar itself really can be nothing more than education, no selling. And then other times, they can be a combination of education and something to sell. This video is about how you are able to literally make big money utilizing webinars. One of the things you have to do is simply make sure to put everybody on a level playing field. Let's discuss what a basic webinar is. Many webinars can be run with several different platforms. Some can host up to 1,000 individuals on a webinar. A lot of other companies exist offering like services. However, there are a couple of that seem to be among the popular ones like GoToWebinar. Attendees are commonly invited through an email invitation sent by the host promoters of the webinar. You sign on and will receive reminders along with a link to link up with the webinar during the scheduled time. Many webinars are voice over IP, meaning you'll hear the hosts speaking through your PC speakers and you won't have the ability to talk. You will be able to communicate to the hosts and ask questions of the host through a question panel inside the GoToWebinar application. Now, GoToWebinar does not let you speak into your microphone. However, many webinars aren't arranged that way as there are too many individuals as to have everybody talking. The host will share their screen, which will probably be a slide presentation, or some of the times doing live demos from their screen. However, it's unlikely any video of the host is called for, simply screen sharing. People get the opportunity to ask questions throughout if the questions are going to be receiving questions, or more frequently, they leave a Q&A session near the end to answer any inquiries. Next, we will look at how to register for GoToWebinar. In our last video, we looked at an overview of webinars. In this video, we will look at how to get started at GoToWebinar. First, go to GoToMeeting, http://www.gotomeeting.com, and click on GoToWebinar. On the following page, you will see that you can try it for free for 30 days. Click on the Try It Free button. Now fill out all your information and hit the Continue button. Next, you will need to get a password and agree to the terms of service. Then click Continue. Following that, you will need to put in your payment information to be billed after the 30 days. There are clear instructions on how to cancel if you need to. Hit Continue. On the next screen, you will be able to set to get started and see what your plan includes. In our next video, we will look at how to design your presentation. Among the most crucial factors in your webinar success is the work you put into designing your slides. This is crucial in any presentations, but particularly so with webinars. In an in-person presentation, you're the main visual for your target market, and your slides are simply visual aids. However, when it comes to a webinar, your slides aren't visual aids. They're the visuals. So put more work into them than you would with an in-person demonstration. Naturally, your slides are simply one part of what makes your webinar engaging. However, it's a really crucial factor, as your slides play such a prominent role in a webinar. In this video, we will look at how to prepare your slides for an effective webinar. This falls into two areas. Chronological sequence. Plan the flow of your presentation in a logical way. Design. Make the slides look attractive while optimizing them. All great webinars have an intro, a body, and a conclusion, so your slides will naturally follow this sequence. However, knowing that alone isn't adequate. What you accomplish in each of these sections matters. A. How to design your back-end offer. B. How to get targeted audience to your webinar. C. How to automate your webinar sessions. The intro of your webinar could only take a couple of minutes. However, it sets the scene and your audience's expectations for the rest of the webinar. Begin with a title slide. With your webinar title, your name and your picture, and other presenters' names and pictures. Optionally, you could include additional information, like sponsor names and logos, your contact information, or logistics info about joining the webinar. A few participants will be new to webinars, so explain to them how it all works. For instance, how to ask questions, whether a recording is there, whether you'll keep questions anonymous, etc. Even if you're presenting to an audience acquainted webinars, it's worth including this. Include yourself and other presenters to produce a more personal connection with participants. Include an overview so participants know how your content is arranged. Now comes the main content of your webinar, which takes most of the time. Naturally, the slides you produce here will depend upon your material, but it's likewise crucial to structure the slides in a logical sequence. This classic structure frequently is used in business presentations. How were things arranged in the past? What is the present situation? What are you advising for the future? This structure is particularly useful when your webinar is about change, or if the fundamental environment is different. A few topics lend themselves to a geographical approach. For example, if you're identifying something that affects individuals differently in different parts of the world, you present a brief introduction, then talk to them through the effect of different locations, then summarize in your conclusion. For a few topics, it's useful to explain the issue and then describe the answer. In between these, likewise describe the cause and effect, so it looks like this. Issue. What issue is your audience facing? Cause. What is the fundamental cause of that issue? Effect. How much is this costing them? Answer. What are you suggesting to repair the issue? Lastly, the most basic structure is to merely list all your points, but only use it if you're sure that there's no better option available. Don't wait till the end of your webinar for audience interaction. Design particular points for interaction, and show slides at those points to cue your audience. If you plan to stop for questions, slip in a Q&A slide in your presentation at this point. You may, naturally, stop for questions at other times, depending upon your audience needs and the flow of the webinar. But it's useful to schedule a few particular times for questions as part of your preparation. If you stop for an audience poll, put in a slide with the poll question on it. You show the slide first, concisely describe the poll, and then launch the poll in the webinar software. For a lot of individuals, the beginning and end of a presentation may be the most memorable sections, so plan your final slides cautiously to reinforce your primary message and encourage your participants to take action. In the same way you began the webinar's primary content with an overview slide, finish the main message with a summary slide. This might be as easy as repeating the overview slide. If your webinar ends with a particular action plan, show a slide summing up that plan. You may talk through it bit by bit. Although this could be a very simple slide, it's really crucial. Make sure it's clear and simple to follow. Add the last slide that clearly explains what happens next. Even if you've mentioned this before in the webinar, include it on this slide as a reminder. The slide likewise clearly indicates to the audience that the webinar has finished. Next, we will look at how to design your back-end offer. Any way you look at it, webinars are a useful sales tool. Merely offering a webinar may boost sales and heighten brand recognition. And there are dozens of ways you may use them to convert casual interest into real paying customers. Make your back-end offer an offer they can't refuse, and then lead up to it in your webinar. Provide a free basic webinar to a longer paid series. Having a complex training module can't be done in just one webinar. And also, if you disclosed all your trade secrets for free, your business would never profit. Hosting a free session leading to a paid series is a valuable way to collect more paid subscribers by supplying simply enough information to tempt people. Provide a product discount as a bonus. Host a webinar. Display your expertise and at the end, lead into subtle sales talk for a product and provide an exclusive discount to people who attended. Nothing is a bigger sales incentive than a one-time chance to get a good deal on a useful product. Follow up once you've had a great presentation. Keep the interest of your attendees with regular contact. Request feedback the following day. Follow through with a sales pitch for one of your products or paid webinars and continue to supply value by inviting same group to later sessions. Identify an issue and an answer. Throughout your presentation, you ought to be hitting on hot buttons that describe common issues or frustrations. Seize their attention by making them feel like you're talking right at them, describing what they thought were big challenges. Once they get it, offer a solution, your products or services. Construct value. This is an area in which a lot of webinars facilitators fail. You have to show your expertise. Demonstrate your excitement about sharing a tool with them that will resolve their biggest issues, and make its value certain. Discuss the standard retail price of the product or service you're going to use, how much time or cash they'll save, or how much more cash they will make, and illustrate their cost savings for capitalizing on your one-time only offer. Produce urgency. Naturally, if you're offering a limited time discount, buyers have an incentive to make a prompt purchase decision. Add to that momentum by talking results and communicating how much they'll benefit by acting sooner instead of later. Next, we will look at how to get targeted audience to your webinar. The most crucial thing you can do is think about your target audience. Because your company might target numerous different audiences, you might need to use more than one webinar. It is always best to tailor a webinar to one particular audience, instead of target it toward everybody. This will supply better results. When you meet the needs of a particular group of individuals, you increase the chances of turning them into buyers. There are a lot of ways you may locate your target audience. Send notifications out to those in your opt-in list. Invite your present customers to attend. Speak with business affiliates to gauge interest. Make use of social networking and pro-networking sites. Once you have your audience targeted, it's time to consider the marketing for your webinar. It's crucial to give individuals plenty of notice, but some experts say 2 to 3 days is sufficient. If you wish to give more time, begin no more than a week or two beforehand so individuals don't forget to attend. After you've determined who you'll target and how far in advance you wish to market your webinar, you may begin evaluating how to market the webinar. There are many ways you may effectively market to a wide audience. Social networking is a growing trend for businesses. More individuals are turning to social networking to discover what they need. Use social networking to post related news and info, as well as invite your following to your webinar. Join online forums that concern to your business. Monitor the posts and include a link to your webinar where it's relevant. Be cautious not to spam forums. Press releases. Online press releases are a great way to spread the word about your webinar. When you use online press releases, your information may be listed on major news sites. If you are able to offer something to your attendees free of charge, you'll increase the chances individuals will attend. It doesn't need to be something physical either. Provide a free book or white paper that will benefit your attendees. Send emails to anybody who could be interested in your webinar, particularly those already in your opt-in list. Include the link to your webinar registration page for simple access. Individuals love to watch videos on YouTube. Post a teaser for your webinar or something relevant to it. Include info about your webinar at the end and post it utilizing tags individuals are likely to search for. If you have the budget, you may utilize more traditional forms of advertising to boost your reach, including TV ads, radio spots, and newspaper ads. If you focus on finding the right target audience for your webinar, you'll accomplish greater success with your webinar. Make use of all the tools you have available to you for marketing, so your webinar will be something people want to attend. Next, we will look at how to automate your webinar session. Marketing automation adds a power punch to your webinars. Benchmark data shows that automated pre- and post-webinar reminders can increase attendance by 32%. Schedule your webinar using a brief online form, and GoToWebinar will create a hosted registration page and invitation email for you to send, which you are able to brand with your own logo and image. You can rehearse in advance to make certain everything goes as planned. First of all, log into your GoToWebinar account and set up a test webinar just to see how things work. Go to My Webinars and choose your test webinar. You will see that you can do a practice session. If you click on practice, you will have to download and install a small file. Further down the page, you can set all the parameters like automated emails, invitations, and registration settings. When you click on the practice button and have installed the required file, you will see that you can control the entire webinar with this tool. GoToWebinar as well has training videos on their site in case something isn't clear. Just make sure to practice so you know how to use all the tools and so everything will go smooth. There you have it. Now start making some money with webinars.